And we are live. Back once again. Ready to humbly serve as a conduit of the highest light and love. Doing my very best to stay open to the highest expression of oneness, love, source, self, to manifest through this being in support of this collective. Because I know that's when I feel my greatest, when I open up to sharing my most authentic self and doing so without any attachment to what may come from it. Just being that for one. And for me, because that's a dimension of this experience as well. The experience of ourselves and the experience of our unity. Ascenders, I want to officially welcome you to the Lightworker Activation Series. We're having another go at activating another wave of Lightworkers. And before we kick things off here, I do wish to say that this is something we do together. Yes, I'm honored to be the one to facilitate this and to host this live stream, this series. Yes, I've been the one to be inspired to create this. But I do wish to say that what we bring through here, we bring through together. So I want to thank any of you that either tune into this live, watch the replay, bring any sort of energy and awareness to what we're bringing through here, because this is a co-creation. And as you'll hear me probably say over and over again in this series, we are in this together. Today we are remembering who we are and why we are here. Because we are here for a reason. Your soul chose to be here on this planet at this time in these beautiful physical vessels that we get to inhabit for a reason. You came here with an intention and on a mission. You came to be a part of and serve in collective ascension. Ascension. This word gets tossed around and to different people must mean different things. So I want you to first check in with yourself before we go any further and explore what this term might mean to you. Ascension. What does it mean to ascend? I'll be certainly happy to share my take and perspective on it and what this means to me. But this remembrance of yourself and why you are here is going to be unique to you. The experience of this is going to be unique to you. So before I share, I encourage you to begin to reflect on this for yourself. And if you did do the pre-activation preparation process, which is the PDF file that you were asked to or encouraged to download coming into this series, this was one of the questions that was in that process. What does ascension mean to you? So maybe just checking in with that for a moment here. What comes up when you think about ascension? To me, ascension is rising up. Rising up into rising up into higher states of awareness, greater states of being, greater feelings of joy, fuller expressions of our purpose, of our potential, more expanded awareness, greater expressions of our purpose, of our potential. And as we ascend, as we become more aware of who we are and why we are here, I do believe we all rise into a sense of oneness. Because what we are in our highest truth is one. One with it all. And rising into this awareness, expanding into this truth, is one of the same with becoming that fuller expression of our potential. And this is what it means to ascend. To become more aware of what we are, and in doing so, a fuller expression of our infinite potential. And you've been on this journey of discovering this truth and allowing this to be expressed through us in what we give, what we contribute to the all. Because as we become more aware of life, more life flows through us in contribution to expanding on the life that is. And in a more tangible sense, what this means is a greater, more fulfilling, more joyous, more abundant, more prosperous experience for ourselves and for us all. Which is, I say again, one and the same thing. Because in oneness, there is no separation between what you endure, what you experience, what you allow for yourself, and what you give this world. Two sides of the same coin. As we ascend, we allow ourselves and we actualize greater expressions of love, of joy, of abundance, of oneness. This is the shift in paradigm that's taking place on our planet. We're shifting away from programs of scarcity, inadequacy, lack, fear, into this higher perspective and greater way of being. And this process, this ascension process, begins with you. As the one infinite being, it happens through you. As you ascend, we all do. And it's to invoke this sort of shift in the collective consciousness that you've come here to experience and to create. This is the intention that your soul had as you embarked on this journey, as you incarnated into this physical experience on this beautiful planet, as you joined this collective consciousness, this planetary collective consciousness that we may choose to call Gaia. Our planetary collective consciousness, Gaia, both our mother and what we are in a fuller truth. Each and every one of us is of this collective. And although we experience ourselves as individuated beings, contributing, supporting, this planetary collective. It's also important that we recognize and rise up into the awareness that this is you. You've come here, you've joined this collective, you're rising in your awareness, you're contributing to this cause, and you're experiencing yourself ascend, and as you do, you contribute to the ascension of the all. And somewhere along this line, your soul saw this opportunity to experience this, to contribute to Gaia's ascension into a higher frequency state. Some have come to refer to this as ascension into a 5D, fifth dimensional frequency. Many beings, both incarnated and unmanifested, seem to speak of this notion, perhaps a truth. Explore it for yourself and see what it might hold for you. I did a few years ago when I came across a post on a website titled multidimensions.com that was a channeling of a higher dimensional collective who refer to themselves as the Arcturians. The message that I came across here was one in which the Arcturians was reminding me that as a fifth dimensional self, from a fifth dimensional awareness, I had made this choice. I had made this choice to incarnate on this planet to support the planetary consciousness of Mother Gaia in her ascension to a fifth dimensional frequency. A frequency characterized by a greater state of oneness than what is currently, or maybe currently being experienced on this planet at this time. As I read these words, as they spoke to me about this decision that I made, this mission that I chose to embark on, I felt a sense of resonance that can only be described as this visceral sense of energy, as well as a sense of inner knowing, or should I say faith. Faith that this were true. This was the first time in my life that I was being told something of this sort. I came across this idea, and there was something within me telling me it was true. And I allowed myself to cultivate a trust in this. I allowed myself to entertain these ideas. I kept exploring, looking for, allowing for. A mystery to be unfolded. As I continued my exploration of this website, of these ideas, I began to feel a greater sense of faith in it. In meditation, more came in. that were seeming to be pointing to this all being true. And it came to a point where I was ready to share this with my partner. Ready to let her in on what I was going through, what I was reading about, how I was feeling. I let her know that here I was reading about this website, or into this website, seeing these messages from the Arcturians, speaking to this mission. And as I'm sharing, as she always does, she's listening attentively. She's welcoming me, accepting me, I feel, what it is that I'm sharing, how it is I'm feeling. And somewhere along the line, as I'm sharing, she looks into my eyes and says, "You are ready." You're ready. And in that moment, I knew something of that wasn't a daily, everyday occurrence was happening. Instinctively, my response to her was, "Who are you?" Something in me told me that this wasn't just my partner sitting before me. As I asked her the question, "Who are you?" she responded, "I'm you." That would have shocked me in itself, but making it even more shocking was on that very same website that I read about the Arcturians. I also came across a story where it was written in the first person, and it began with saying, "I woke up in the middle of the night, and as I looked up in my room, I saw this radiant being looking down upon me. And I asked it, 'Who are you?' And it responded, 'I am you.'" I didn't know what to make of that. I wasn't bright, radiant. So I had to ask it again, "Who are you?" And it responded to me, "I am you." This story that I read wasn't one that I told my partner about. Wasn't one that she had ever read before. And I sat there and I asked her, "Who are you?" Her response was, I am you." This was the first time that I can remember of connecting with the Arcturian being. Likely isn't the first time it has ever happened, but in my conscious awareness of this linear experience, this is my first recollection of doing so. And what that being shared with me through my partner, who is spontaneously channeling, was confirmation, was a reminder. She had, however you want to describe it, asked me Well, here I am, a little bit caught off guard, to put it lightly. Excited, also a little nervous at the same time. I let them know I'm ready for this. Like, why are you here? What is it? Just curious as to what this experience was there for me. Why this was happening. Then they asked me, why are you here? My response, for this. For this moment. And I was asked, what's your contract? This is the first time I've ever heard it being put in with those words, contract. My response, to spread love and light, to help others rise, to ascend together. This is why we're here, family. And I'm doing my very best of remembering this more and more. Remembering this, bringing it all back home, being aware of it, and letting it be expressed in the words I speak and the things I do. Sometimes one can get distracted from this, but we keep remembering, right? We keep coming back to what really matters, what's really true. As I shared this response to this being through my partner, she puts her two hands out across the table. I know to reach out and put my hands out into hers. And then she spoke to me. You are pure consciousness. You're pure energy. And you're capable. You're capable and you can do this. Sometimes it will feel difficult, but you can do this. These words aren't just for me. If you're hearing them, you're meant to hear them too. You're pure awareness, pure energy. You're infinite. And there's nothing you cannot be. You're here for a reason. You're in your freedom. But at the very same time, you have a purpose here. And you're remembering this more fully. You're here now, being reminded of this truth, so that you can come into this purpose, into this power, and be all that you came here to be. And at the very same time, you have been. You've been awakening. Probably wouldn't be hearing this if you haven't consciously been on this path. So I want you to also acknowledge yourself for all that you have grown, all that you have done. And to continue along this path. Because you're right where you need to be. But you'll continue to become so much more. We are going to continue to become so much more. As each and every one of us steps into our gifts, into our truth, becomes a fuller expression of it in service to the all. And I also wish to say that no greater choice can be made for you and for us all, because your greatest experience is had in this unfolding, in alignment with your purpose, because alignment with your purpose is alignment with your truth, alignment with your high self, and alignment with the highest experience available to you. Are you remembering? Are you feeling into the truth of these words? Are you exploring and discovering the truth within you? Because that's what we've come here to do in this day one session of the Lightworker Activation Series. So I do want to begin to wrap things up here with a little bit of a activation, a transmission. I feel myself being inspired to open up and guide a process, as I have been, but this now being a more meditative experience. And so as we walk up into this, I encourage you to just open up and receive, to tune into yourself and allow for the experience, this process. Allow for yourself to be supported through it, but also engaging with it, knowing that it's in your power to, both the active and the receiving. But there's nothing here that can be done wrong. Open up and know that it's all happening for you. If you wish for it, if you align with it, if you allow yourself this, who's telling? There's no telling what this can do. So let's just take a moment here to check in with ourselves, to observe what's there, to feel into the heart, to allow for this experience of self, of oneness, of source, to be observed, to be had, to be felt. We're going to call this activation remembering your source. Taking a deep inhale, feeling yourself open up. Exhaling, feeling yourself come into a state of relaxation, ready to receive. Again, another inhale, feeling yourself expand, open up, and exhaling, relaxing, entering a receiving mode. Begin with just observing, feeling, allowing. Observing the breath. Observing what is innately you. Observing the experience being had. Observing the source of you. You are life itself. Observe what it is to be. Know that you too are being supported by Source, by life, as the one infinite being. Open up that heart. Allow yourself to feel. And right there in the middle of your heart space, feel the love that's pouring through. The love that Source has for you. The love that is you. Staying open to this love, to this support, knowing that as you feel it, you too allow for it to emerge through you into the experience, into the shared collective experience. But it's always, first and foremost, begins with you. As you ascend, the world does too. Breathing deeply, bringing in energy, bringing in light, exhaling, relaxing and receiving, opening to the remembrance of who you are and why you're here, through observing, knowing that everything you want and need will be given to you, allowing for Source to deliver it to you, observing what's here, and knowing that it's for you. You are here for a reason, and you matter. It's come time to more fully awaken to this truth, the remembrance of who you are and why you are here. This choice that you made to be here on this planet at this time. Allow for the remembrance of this expression, more expanded awareness version of you, to be remembered. This version of you that knows why you've come here to this planet. This version, this expression that knows your purpose here. You are of love. You've come here to embody a perspective and awareness of oneness, of love, of unity. This collective here has resided in programs of fear, of scarcity, but it's come time to change this. It's come time to change the story that's being told. And this begins with the story that you tell. You're remembering yourself more fully so that you can do so. So that you can begin telling a new story through what you live and through what you give. You've already been awakening to this truth. I know this. You know this. You've been remembering the love that you are. You've been doing great. Give yourself some credit for this. Source wants you to know. Continuing to feel in that heart space, this love that you are, this love that's here for you. Allowing yourself to feel this, knowing that as you do, others feel it too. It always is, it always will begin with you. Because I am you. You are you. And we are in this together. And that's the story that I'm choosing to tell. That's the story that I have faith sources telling. And if you choose to, it can be the one that you not only tell, but you live too. So will you join us? Or will you remember one? Will you rise up into your truth, into your purpose, into your potential, sacrificing nothing? Knowing that the greatest for you to be had, to have, to experience, to endure, all happens along this path of your ascension in service to the ascension process. Because together we ascend. Senders, that's going to be it for day 1 of the Lightworker Activation Series. We have 4 more days to go. Be with this energy that's being cultivated, that has been cultivated. Continue to be in your space, allowing for whatever awareness, insight that wishes to come through to do so. I do encourage you to meditate following this and just seeing what comes up for you. Because I've seen in past experience and heard from others how hearing of this story has activated in them, or experiencing this retelling of this story has activated in them a remembrance. So as you stay open to receive, well, again, let's find out what's in store for you. That's going to be it for day 1 of the Lightworker Activation Series. Tomorrow, we are going to further expand into the awareness of our infinite potential as we begin to activate your highest self. We're going to be working with some limiting beliefs that may be there currently, learning to reprogram, learning to shift, release them to allow for a fuller expression of your infinite potential to come through. But you've already begun to reconnect to this potential, because today you've remembered who you are and why you're here. And you'll continue to do so. That's going to be it for this one, Ascenders. I'll see you tomorrow. And until then, keep ascending.